Oh, look at that. Very, very beautiful little bird. Not little, it's quite a large owl. The spotted eagle owl. There we go. Look at that. Oh, we've gone blurry. Back a little bit. You had it perfectly. You zoom out a bit. Blurry safaris, Now, if James was here, he'd be shouting at you. He shouts at me with the microscope. And with blurry safaris, there we go. Perfect. You got it. There we go. So that's the spotted eagle owl. Beautiful, beautiful owl. And I do enjoy seeing them. You can see those tufts, those little feathers above the head look like ears. Those little tufts. Always nice to see them. And I actually got a nice image the other day of one. I was in the Kalahari and we saw one. So just to show you the range from here, where we are on the eastern side of South Africa, I was in the western side of South Africa in the Kalahari and managed to get one. Let me see if I can find that image that I got. There we go. Have a look at that. Let's see if I can focus. That's a beautiful spotted eagle owl during the day. You see that? Oh, look at that. Oh, zoom back out a bit, back out. There we go, perfect. So that was a image I got the other day, and you can see those colors, those yellow eyes, and you see those feathers very, very clearly. Beautiful, beautiful owl, and always nice to see them. Alright, now I've got some answers to our microscope quiz, so let's have a look. Let's have a look and see. Okay, let's go back to the microscope quickly. It's still there. Our little... There we go. Just moved it for you. There we go. And let's see... Where are the quiz answers? Okay. David Hogan, you say it's a dead antlion. Snazzy Zepp, a cocoon. Sinatra, a moth or flying insect cocoon. Well, you're all on the right track. It does appear to be a pupa or cocoon. So the pupa phase or larval phase of these animals, when they go into they pupate, they go into a state, and then what happens is that when they hatch out, it often happens with, like you say, moths or other little insects. I'm trying to think of a nice. This I think may have been from a butterfly, a small butterfly, or small moth, because I've seen them in the tent here before. These pupas, they actually hang on the side of the tent. The little worms crawl up, and then they hang. And then what happens is, as these larvae pupate, those butterflies come out. Those little butterflies come out. So I think this is possibly one of the butterfly pupas that we see from time to time around here. That's what it is. But you could see it's actually nice and clear in that pupa, and probably some of the veins. Actually, you can just see the markings on the outside of that pupa. So 100% right. Thank you very much for all your answers. Daniel, you said a wasp. Ali, a caterpillar. Yeah, so I don't think this would have been a wasp, but definitely just the pupa of a butterfly. I think that's what it was. All right. Let me just have a look if there are any other questions here. I'm going to go through some more of these questions. Have a look. But Taylor's still at that Treehouse Dam. She's still got a leopard. And let's see what else is around there.
There's so much around here. There are some golden-breasted buntings also who have just come down for a drink. I don't think that they even realize that there is a leopard sitting just a couple of meters away from them. But one of my favorite little birds. So I thought we'd have a very quick look at them. Now, the lapwings, the blacksmith lapwings, are making quite a bit of noise as well. There's one just there. You can see it. Just walking across the water. Also, I have to tell you, can you believe it? We had a Cape Gossie starling bathing for a whole of about 5 seconds. And that's one thing I've been wanting to show you for ages. It flew away though. Now, they're very unhappy. I have not seen the little blacksmith lapwing chicks anywhere. I wonder if naughty over here in the corner didn't perhaps eat them, because they wouldn't be able to fly just yet. And that's a possibility. He could have easily caught them as a little snack, unless that they've moved off. Remember I was saying how sometimes they do move away from the water's edge to try and find some cover, especially when you can't fly, so I wonder if that's actually what may have happened. Oh, here he goes, looking up again. He's just looking at the other car. Taxon's just joining us. He's such a beautiful cat, isn't he? Now, I really hope he doesn't just spend most of his time resting, which wouldn't be the unusual thing to do, especially after a hard day of moving around, searching for, not hard day, a hard night of searching for something to eat. It only makes sense that you have a sleep to rest again. But he's very curious. He keeps looking around. Now, Paul, you're wondering if I know most of the leopards in the area, and my answer to that is actually no. I only know a small percentage of the leopards. I think I did a tally of how many leopards I've seen. I can't remember which book it was in. I think it was something like 20-odd leopards that I've seen in the Sabi sand, but I don't know any of the leopards in the western corner. There's still plenty of leopards up in the north that I've never had the pleasure of meeting. Again, in the eastern section, or the southeastern section towards Singita, Londolozi, I also don't know all those leopards there. So we can go through it at some point again. I'll get one of my notebooks out, and hopefully I have a pen somewhere around here, and we'll try and have a look. Now, just remember, with sightings like this, obviously we haven't seen a leopard for quite some time, and because it's the first leopard sighting of the day, there's going to be a whole lot of people trying to get in here. So I'm going to try and sit with this cat for as long as we can and spend a bit of time with him. The other guys can just hang tight, because that's the thing out here in the bush, is that this is not just the only leopard that's on the property at the moment. I'll tell you right now, if you carry on searching, with all the cars around you, if everybody spent at least an hour trying to track an animal, you would most certainly find more than one leopard. That's what we always used to say. Everyone likes to just race to an established sighting. So we will hold our spot. Now, Sinatra, you're wondering, why do leopards have such thick chins? I've never noticed that they've had a thick chin. Are you maybe talking around, I actually don't understand the question, around their necks perhaps, how thick their necks are? Because their chins or their jaw just looks normal. I mean, obviously that houses lots of very powerful teeth. So the other thing that I can think of, is if you may be talking about their necks, is that they have dewlaps. But this leopard doesn't really have a dewlap yet. He's still quite young, but he'll probably get one. He's not a little leopard. I think he'll grow in the next few years to be a stunning boy, and that normally is to have a dewlap. Sorry, I'm just listening. No, it was people talking. I thought for a second I may have heard a lion calling in the distance, but it's somebody with a very deep voice. So the dewlap is very important to help protect the throat. Just like a lion's mane is there to protect the vital organs from when they fight, the same thing goes for a dewlap. Obviously, leopards don't have manes. Now, I'm hoping that that big yawn that he just did means he's going to get up and start moving around. There's also a pearl-spotted owlet calling. And a Rexon mimicking it. Oh, I'm so tired. It's Sunday. Do I really have to get out of bed? I reckon that's what he's saying. He's now gone, oh, the people have arrived. I better put on a show for him. Lots of birds around here. Doves all making noises. Obviously the pearl-spotted owlet. Look how excited he is. He doesn't know where to listen. Chilean, you said that you love leopards. It's hard not to love leopard. Of course, they're one of the most majestic creatures out here, just with their striking colours. And when they get on the move, they are even more amazing. And I think the fact that they are able to climb trees really well, and that's one of their favourite spots to perch themselves in, as a tree is going to look like he was going to do another yawn there, but he seems to have swallowed that one. He did the yawn that all guides are trained to do when you're guiding. You sort of sit there and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're still trying to host your guests, but you know that you've got to get up in 3 hours time, sometimes in summer even only 2 hours time, but you can't be rude and yawn in front of guests. So you close your mouth, your eyes do this weird thing where they're like they're rolling back. That's exactly the yawn that Hosana did. Now, don't worry, young man, we don't mind. You can show us if you are tired. See, his ears are moving around though. He's listening. I can't actually see if he's had a meal recently. He hasn't really exposed much of his body, but perhaps after this yawn he will. But his teeth look in fantastic condition, don't they? White, nice, because that's again another way you can age a leopard or any of the big cats typically. When they get a bit of staining, that yellow and all that sort of grit build up, and that will and that of course indicates that they're slightly older. But white teeth like that mean he's quite young. He is such a beautiful leopard. To me, he is a splitting image of Tingana, or a young Tingana. He doesn't seem to be too interested in the birds anymore. Remember those days when anything dare flutter nearby and him and his sister would go chasing after it? Now, right, one of the things we've been chatting about, actually for almost an entire year since I started working here, is mange. And it's a big problem, unfortunately, with a lot of the animals out here. We see it quite heavily affecting lions. There's also that jackal around Chitwa airstrip that seems to have a severe problem with mange. And Mary, you're wondering if leopards have the same issue. Of course, mange is not limited to one species of animal. Any animal can contract mange. And basically, you won't see mange on a healthy animal. What happens is as soon as the immune system is slightly weakened, mange jumps on board. And what it is, it's a parasite that feeds on hair follicles. So we saw a lot of mange during the drought, and you can imagine why. Is because there's nothing for any of the animals to eat, so they were hungry, they were starving, they become weaker and weaker. And so yeah, so that typically jumps aboard there. But I haven't seen any of the leopards with mange just yet. But this is so beautiful. I really hope that he does decide to, of course, get up. He keeps staring over into the distance. So I wonder if he hasn't seen something. Maybe Shongile is in there. You know, Shongile loves to sit up in trees, and it wouldn't be the first time that we have seen her up in trees around Treehouse Dam. There's plenty of marulas here. There's also some nice jackalberries just up in the drainage line, just slightly west of us. And they seem to be the only trees that have got decent foliage on them at the moment. And for these hot winter days, that would be a nice spot to shade yourself. Oh yes, now you're going to act like a real house cat. Look at this. Isn't this sweet? Look at his paws. Now we can actually have a good look at his paws. I think Tamba's feet are bigger than Hosana's feet, to be honest. They don't look so out of proportion. They actually look like they fit onto Hosana, whereas Tamba, when you look at him, it looks like he's wearing shoes about 10 sizes too big. So I think he's going to be a very, very, very big leopard when he gets older. But while Hosana decides to lay on his back and stretch out like a typical house cat, let's go back across to Byron. He's still in the tent, and he's loving the owls today. Isn't that great? So let's go see which other owls he's going to talk about.
Oh dear, sorry, watching Hosana like that made me feel very comfortable, and I thought I'd try my house cat pose. Not very good, is it? Now, we just quickly wanted to touch again on this pupa that we had, and I think it was, sorry, let me just see here. I've now highlighted it in red and I can't see it. Douglas, you asked, is that pupa still alive? No, it's not. That's just the exoskeleton that's left, or the outside of the pupa. So that was all that was left of that pupa. Anyway, we're going to move on from that now. So Douglas, just so you know, that was just the outside layer of that exoskeleton, or the pupa that was left. So that did.
Everybody, sorry about that. Unfortunately, the gremlins are, well, attacking us, but we seem to be back, which is quite good. And I hope that you didn't get up and go too far away, but our leopard is now fast asleep. We're probably actually not going to stay here for very much longer. He's really not doing anything. He did give us a couple of yawns earlier, if you have just joined us, but I think those were fake yawns. Maybe it was just because he was tired and not because he was getting up and ready to move around. He looks like he's got a great spot here. He's got the morning sun on his back. He's hidden away very well, concealed by a log and a small shrub. It looks like a common spikethorn or something like that. And I think he's going to wait for something to walk towards him. He still hasn't revealed his belly, so I can't tell you if he's eaten recently, but he seems to be in fairly good condition. He doesn't look, well, thin, because then we'd see his hip bones and things sticking out, and that's something that I cannot see. Now Rex on his left, he was going to go for a tea and coffee stop, and I think he said he was going to come back here. But like I said, he's unfortunately not been up to too much. Very quiet. The only action that we've really had at the dam, other than Hosana sleeping, is the blacksmith lapwing chasing turtle doves around the dam, and emerald spotted wood doves. So that's been the most action that we've been watching. And I think actually those chicks might still be alive. I think one of the adults ushered them into the long grass in the distance, because they're very active down there and they haven't come back. Craig, I think let's go. Hosana, I unfortunately don't know if I have a lot of patience to sit here for 3 hours with you, because I know what you're like. I think you're going to sleep for most of the day. Well, nice anyway, of course, to see a leopard. First thing, we'll probably pop past a little bit later, but I don't think he's going to get up to too much. I think he's obviously had a very busy evening, but we'll go around and see what else we can find. Perhaps we bump into those elephants that we were with earlier, Cheeky 1 and Cheeky 2. Let's go to Byron in the tent, and I think he still wants to talk about those nocturnal birds.
I do indeed. So fortunately we're back up and running again after our short little tech loop. We do apologize for that. Sometimes the signal is very temperamental, as you know. Now, we were chatting about the owls, just quickly, the largest owls that we have, and then I touched on the Pell's fishing owl, that beautiful owl. Let me just show you again. That's the Pell's fishing owl over there. Very, very large. I've never seen one, but they do occur in Botswana, and they do occur in parts of the Kruger up in the Pafuri in the northern area. So they do prefer wetland habitats or along rivers and that. And the Pell's fishing owl, interestingly enough, it's a huge bird, but the Pell's fishing owl is also known for fishing, obviously. Now, that was David Hoggan, you asked about that. Is there an owl that fishes like the fish eagle? And the Pell's fishing owl does. It will swoop down, catch fish, and then return to a perch and feed on it. Now, often what they do is they've got these feeding sites. The bird, this owl, will return to a specific point and usually feed there, maybe just a stable branch, open branch, and it's able to land on, hold the fish down, and feed on it. And often you'll find scales and little bones and fish bones and that below these sites, and obviously a lot of dung from the owl, and that's a good sign that they're in the area, and you need to then look for that and see where they possibly are. They'll roost during the day, and then at night they get active and they'll go and start fishing. But isn't it fascinating how these owls are able to fish at night? I just find it amazing that they're able to see, swoop down and catch fish in the water at night. Just incredible. Now, let me just have a look and see what other questions we have here quickly. There was some about the different areas. Yes. Now, Lady Starfire, now with it being winter, and we touched on the pupa and that, these little butterfly and insects and stuff that we have around here, and you asked, what insect do I miss the most in winter? Well, Lady Starfire, I think that's an easy one for me. It would have to be the dung beetles. I love seeing dung beetles around. It's always wonderful to watch them and see them moving about, rolling dung, often wrestling with one another. The males trying to fight when they're trying to basically impress the female. And it's quite funny. So you think the larger the dung ball, the more impressive the male is for the female. So the males will try and fight one another to roll these big dung balls around, and then the female will then latch onto that dung ball. But so yeah, the dung beetle by far is the insect I miss the most. I miss the most in winter, but when we start getting rain again in summer, we'll start seeing more dung beetles. Now, Taylor's had a great morning so far with her leopard, Hosana. I am jealous, but I'll try and find him again this afternoon. Let's go back to Taylor and see where she is headed to now.
Well, I first was heading towards Twin Dams, and then I changed my mind. I turned around and I thought to myself, Hosana keeps looking in this direction. Maybe she's up here in the trees somewhere. So that's what we're looking for now. So I'm just checking all of these trees because I've seen her up in a lot of these marulas, a lot of the knobthorns, and then like I was saying, I think jackalberry would be a good spot. So I'm just checking them, but I can't see anything just yet. No, it was virtually impossible to see Hosana from the dam wall. You could just see a couple of spots, but I knew exactly where to look. But if it wasn't for us knowing where he was, no one would have spotted that, and we saw it because Rexon and James, who are some of the greatest guides and tracker team that there is, didn't even see them, and they were walking around on foot. And it doesn't help when you have leopards that are quite relaxed with people on foot. He doesn't growl, he just sits there, he actually hides away. So he probably just shriveled up into a tiny little ball and then became completely invisible. I think there's a Bateleur just up ahead. We'll just go around the corner and get a closer view. Just perched up on a tree. Have a look here. We have a gap now. So still just checking around here. Is going to be a gap? There's a gap. It is indeed a Bateleur eagle, just sitting up there to the right. Hello. You're very pretty, all fluffed up, aren't you? Maybe he's listening to the sounds of the turtle doves calling. Very busy. Now, Byron actually had a Bateleur eagle yesterday, and he was chatting quite a bit about their sort of feeding habits. So I think it is just taking a break, trying to warm up before it takes off for the morning, and I'm sure it'll also try catch a thermal or two, glide around, looking for perhaps a carcass. Though without the lions around, the chances of finding many carcasses are very, very, very slim. But in my opinion, they're the most beautiful eagle out in the low veld in terms of coloration. The beautiful red facial skin, the bright yellow on the tip of the beak, and then of course they've just got the white, the mottled brown and black feathers too. They're very pretty. I'm surprised there's not two of them because they're monogamous as well. Mac, you've said that this is such a cool bird. All birds are cool though. They were wonderful. My favorite one from this morning had to have been the white-crested helmet shrikes. I enjoyed seeing them, especially because they were so close to me. Like I said, that was the closest sighting I've ever had. Let's see what else we can find. Let's carry on. Try and rack up the bird count. Might as well. Hey, we've actually seen quite a few birds today. What I would like to do, and this is going to be my next challenge before I go on leave, because I go on holiday relatively soon on Wednesday. I'm heading home, so I would like to try and get on camera. So Craig, this one's for you. Is to get a clear shot of a blacksmith lapwing sort of chasing and actually making contact with another bird, so turtle dove or emerald spotted wood dove or anything else that comes down to the dam, because they're particularly aggressive at the moment. And I reckon the ones at Treehouse Dam are even more aggressive because they do have young chicks and they're very protective over their young. Okay, I can see some more birds. We've already got a fork-tailed drongo though. Our Bateleur is now flying in the sky. Oh no, there are two Bateleurs flying, so obviously that other one's mate was around. That's not a leopard, that's just a tree. Check here. So this is I'm trying to figure out where Shongile could be. Maybe we'll actually pop onto Gowrie Main and quickly go to Twin Dams and just do a quick look around here. Or should we see if the genet's home? We can also do that. We can also check with the genet is home. Let's go along the fire break. Why don't we do that? So we're not near the genet just yet. It's the next road that we need to get to. We don't often drive these fire breaks either. Now I'm trying to dodge all the trees. It's actually very overgrown. Little squirrel just sitting in this bush willow, just in the fork of the tree, just over there. Hi, little squirrel. Isn't that precious? Now, Kobe, you're wondering if I ever feel like not going on a drive? Not really in winter. In summer, when it's pouring with rain, yes. I'm not a huge fan. It's not nice. It's not pleasant to go out and get completely drenched, and especially if there's wind, it's cold. It's not particularly nice. But no, most mornings I feel like going on a safari. Sometimes in the afternoon I'm so lazy, I'm just like, oh, do I have to go out on a drive? And then I'm like, don't really want to be on safari. This is every guide, and don't say, there's not one guide that can say that they don't do this. And then after 10 minutes of being out in the bush in the fresh air, you're like, oh, I love it. I remember why I love it again. So we do all have those moments of relapses where we just like, oh, I just want to have a sleep. Or especially in summer. I suppose summer's probably worse because it's so hot. You know, that first hour of the afternoon is so unpleasant with the heat. I wonder if it's hiding nuts or something in here. You see, there's a little... We'll go and investigate. Let's see if a squirrel's going to move further up the tree. I don't want to move now because then I know I'm going to chase it, but I think it might be stashing things. Oh, sure. You see it do that big leap down to the ground. It goes. And he's going to run away. Let's have a look inside that little hole there. See there. See how a branch has been broken just in the middle. I'm looking at the monitor now in case you saw me. So I reckon that would be a good spot. There's some gaps in that tree that they could have stashed marula nuts, or maybe even pods from the knob thorns, eat the little seeds inside. That would be a very, very good spot. And I think that's what it was doing, because I just saw its head stuck down in that section just behind the little, but standing up. So I think it must have been either dropping something off, or perhaps it was trying to get something out. And then I disturbed it. Hi, squirrel. So we'll go towards that genet and see if it is still in the tree. Actually, we're almost there. Let's have a quick look. We're not far. I just need to put my foot down. Let's quickly have a look. Because I know what will happen is that if I'm not live when we get to that hole, the chances of that genet hanging around are quite slim. It's the same thing with birding. Birding is actually easier to do, to sort of spot it while you're live and put the camera on it, than to sort of have it up on screen, because the chances by the time the next presenter links to you, it may have flown away already. Okay, we're not far now. We're actually very close. I promise. I was just being very slow from it, and I'm also just scanning the marula trees here. There's lots of termite mounds, so I'm having a look at them too to see if I can spot any leopards sitting on them. There's a couple of buffalo tracks look like they're going in and out of the property. Maybe just some Duggar boys. They don't look like, it doesn't look like it's a big breeding herd. Come on, road, where are you? We're almost there. I know we are. Whee, up we go again. No leopard tracks here though. Oh, well that's exciting. Then we're definitely going to go have a look. Exquisite Bliss, apparently you've never seen a genet before. Run, squirrel, it's Taylor and she's driving. Get off the roads. I think that's what all the animals must shout most of the time. Though that'll be very nice. Now they're very shy, secretive creatures, so it'll be really cool if we get to see one, especially during the day because they're nocturnal. But we'll go into it a little bit more now. Ah, where's this road? Okay, here it is. I think. Yes. Okay. Everyone get ready. Fix my jacket. The tree is this tree here. I'm trying going quietly. There's a little hole. But doesn't look like anybody is home, does it? It looks very quiet in there. Now, I'm sure that this genet uses this tree most of the time, but it wouldn't surprise me if it has got other little hidey holes that it goes into. And there might be different levels too, because it looks hollow all the way through. You can see even just up a little bit further, there's 2 holes. You can see straight through the tree again, so it could be up on a different level, but it's a beautiful one. Knobthorn. Very nice. Okay, well, sorry, Exquisite Bliss. I was really hoping to be able to show you a genet. Not today. Maybe this afternoon with Byron. Gonna be good. Right, and it seems as though Byron is now taking after some reptiles and he's basking in the sun. Maybe we can go across and he can tell you about the temperature.
I feel like a little meerkat basking in the sun, warming up. It's actually lovely outside right now. But in Essentia and I came outside because we heard a little bird calling, and Megan was just telling me the weather temperature now. The temperature is about 18 degrees Celsius. 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 degrees Celsius. Is that right, Megan? And 18 degrees Celsius and 64 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's it's warming up nicely. So it came outside because there was a black-collared barbet that was calling. Unfortunately, it flew off. And while we were watching the barbet, I'll show you a picture of one shortly. While we were watching the barbet, it flew off and we heard a lilac-breasted roller calling and making a huge noise. I turned behind me and we saw the roller chasing a tawny eagle. This roller was mobbing the tawny eagle and causing it to fly off. So they were circling above us. It was wonderful to see. Very quick, very brief. And this roller dive bombing and mobbing the eagle. Now those little birds, lilac-breasted rollers, fork-tailed drongos will often do that. They'll chase the large birds of prey. And purely because it's a bird of prey and it's a predator, they want to try get them away. So it's amazing to see those little birds do that. But the tawny eagle flew off and the lilac-breasted roller went back down towards the clearing. Let's get back into the tent quickly. I think it's that time of the morning where I need to have a cup of coffee, but also we're probably going to look at a little link now, or a little clip rather, about the leopards. I think because we saw Hosana, Ali had a really, really great sighting recently. Let's have a quick look and we'll discuss it a little bit further.
Alright, seems like, my goodness, so much commotion happening. So there's a leopard walking in there. He's gonna pop out in front of the road. Seems to be Hosana. And now if you hear the impala, there's another leopard that's just made a kill. So we can't see it from here because unfortunately it's on Little Gowrie, but we're gonna stick around and see what happens. Because this Hosana is going straight onto where this other leopard is. So alright, there he comes. It's just behind it. Oh no! Hyena! They're both pulling at the same time. Feisty leopards. They don't want to lose their kill to the hyena. Alright, so it seems like it's Hosana, the one that is giving this hyena a run for its time, refusing to leave this carcass. So maybe we've got a battle of the scavengers, because we also know that he did not make this kill, and the other one that we still haven't managed to identify is just behind that tree where they are. Carry on, carry on. Alright guys, who is this? Stop moving, stop moving. I think that what we've seen today is quite strange, and it's a bit more puzzling even because we don't really know. There's a leopard at the back ring walking. I think it's a leopard. There we go. Because we don't know how closely related they are. Whew. Off it went.
Oh, that was an incredible sighting, and wonderful to see that it was that young Hosana, the young male leopard that Taylor had this morning at the dam. Now, that is really, really an interesting sighting. Now, we've seen, and I have definitely seen, strange leopard behavior many times before here in the Sabi Sands. I reckon that this is probably one of the best areas for leopard viewing in Africa, without a doubt. The density of leopards is very high, and the interaction between leopards and other predators is amazing. Now, that particular sighting I thought was very, very interesting. It's unlikely and unusual that a leopard, for one, would share a kill with another leopard, never mind another predator, and also to see that the leopard wasn't nervous or afraid of that hyena. Now, I think possibly that both of those animals were slightly younger and inexperienced. So I think that, young male leopard, obviously Hosana, a little bit inexperienced, young, and they become a bit brazen. They become kind of testing the boundaries a little bit, wants to know what this hyena is going to do. Is the hyena going to steal the kill from him or not? And that hyena also didn't look like a big, mature adult. Just from that clip, looking at that clip, it looked like a slightly younger hyena. But you could see the fighting that was going on and the tug of war that went on between these two animals, which is really incredible. And often I've seen, I think if it was a female leopard, she probably would have moved away. Oh dear, I've got serious feedback here now. But sorry, give me a second. This is annoying now. Let's try to sort this out quickly. Let's head back to Taylor, and then we'll try to sort this out.
Oh, sorry about that, Byron. I hope that you get your voice fixed. You need to go to the voice doctor. Well, we're sitting with some birds at the moment now, and it's actually quite a funny sighting. They keep coming and going, but the main stars here at Twin Dam seem to be this red-billed hornbill, who's very grumpy. And then there are also some Birchall starlings. Now, I'm hoping we're going to see it again, but it's sort of like a situation we had just a moment ago with those two elephants, where the bigger elephant was sort of bossing the younger one around. I wonder if they're going to... Are you going to come right here to the car? No, go back and fight. Anyway, it's just sitting here watching me. There it goes. This will be great again. So, it keeps chasing the Birchall starlings around. Now, the Birchall starlings, they're quite brave birds. Look at that. There he goes again. They don't really want to move. They don't fly away. The hornbill races over and tries to peck them, and then they just sort of hop away. Like what they're doing now. And they're just like, oh, come on, just leave us alone. We're also just trying to find something to eat here. We mean no problem. The hornbill's using its size. Now, there isn't really anything to feast on here. I don't know what they're pecking at. They've all been just walking around on the road and looking at the ground. I can't see any ants and I can't see any termites. Unless there's something even smaller than those two insects about here. I'm not sure what all the fuss is about then, and why this red-billed hornbill feels the need to chase the others away. Obviously, the reason why it's chasing it away is because there's competition for food. So you will see that amongst birds. Typically, you see food parties where they all work together, but that's not happening today. Catherine, you say that all birds have such characters. They do indeed, and the hornbills definitely take the cake with the grumpier. Oh, hornbills, sorry, hornbills have such characters, my bad, yes. But yeah, they do. I like the yellow-billed hornbills. They're my favorite in terms of their sort of character. It's really, really, really quite funny to watch them. I think we might try and find some yellow-billed hornbills and have a look at them. What are you eating? I just want to know what this little thing keeps finding. That must be a little ant's nest or something there. See how it's flicking the sand around? Maybe some little beetles? I mean, but they're tiny. They're absolutely minute. There also is, I'm just listening to the radio, there's an update, there's cheetah on Buffalo's Hook, or a cheetah. I think it's a female, and I'm just listening, and they say that this female is now calling, so I wonder if it's not that female we had a couple of months ago. We didn't get to see it, sadly, but it was a female that had 3 young cubs. Wouldn't that be amazing? That'd be a great sighting to have. Hopefully they come this way. Now we've got 2 red-billed hornbills. Look at that posture. Tail in the air. I love the way the wings are angled quite low down. Very interesting behavior here. You going to do a little courtship for us? Have a little fight? No. Just looking for food. and one is I'm going to just clean my feathers. And go down and have a bath. That'll be quite nice. We had twin dams. The water's lovely. It's green. It's full of algae. I think that would make a perfect contribution to your feathers. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic water? I can't actually resist. I'm dying to just jump in there. Hey, Craig? With all the terrapins, nip your toes. Probably pick up a bit of bilharzia too. You never know. I don't know what's going on here. These two hornbills are interesting. I'm just watching here, and we learn every single day. I like the way that they're raising their tails quite a bit. So I wonder if it's male and female. I find it difficult to tell the difference between a male and female red-billed hornbill. I want to quickly go onto my bird app and just see if there's any distinct differences, because I've now forgotten. Obviously with a yellow-billed hornbill, the male's bill is a lot more robust. And you can actually tell it quite easily. Let's go southern red hornbill. Let's see if they say what the difference is here, because I've apologized. It's completely slipped my mind. No, not confusing species. We want to look for... Where are you? It doesn't even have it. They're coming to the car. And again, hornbills often come to the car looking for things to feed on. Also always around picnic areas. Oh, and the starlings are back now too. Oh, now it's an even match. We've got 2 red-billed hornbills versus 2 Birchall starlings. Who will hold the title? No, sadly I don't have distinct differences between the males and the females here on my app, so I'll have to look at pictures. Maybe they've got sort of more pink skin around their face, and this one's beak actually looks quite robust on top. And we saw they've got a very slender beak. We saw them in the tent yesterday, so I think that this is the male. I think I'll go with this being the male, the one we're watching now. Now, Makeup Girl, you say that hornbills are so funny. Oh, that's my hat, sorry. I'm crouched down trying to get out of the shot here. You can really watch birds for hours and hours. It sounds really silly, but it's something that we as guides do often. Not necessarily intentionally. We don't always go searching out, say we're just going to watch hornbills. But if you're sitting in camp, and I do it a lot at the DRC, I sit in camp and I'll just look outside, and there's Cape glossy starlings that come through, and then they sit in the shade and they sing for us all day long. And then you'll get the hornbills coming through and turning over all the leaves looking for insects, and then the babblers come, and then there's an argument between the hornbills and the babblers, and they're having a dispute, and then a squirrel comes and runs into the mix. So you can literally sit, even just in camp, and watch these animals for hours and hours and hours. And it's important that actually guides sit and do things like that. We do take the time to do that. We learn very sort of valuable lessons, and you can start making sense of their behavior. Yeah, I think the cheetah that they've got is quite a nervous girl. Right, let me reposition. Or Craig, do you think we can get those go-away birds that are hopping in the knobthorn tree? One of the beautiful flowers. There's a pair that have just arrived. You may have heard them. I actually heard them before I saw them. Oh, it's about to fly into the camera. There it goes, over the top of our heads. They're both flying away. Let's go to the jackalberry tree. Let's go see if we can find any African green pigeons or crested barbets. Maybe we'll get the black-collared barbet. I know Byron said he heard one and then it flew away. So maybe we'll get a black-collared barbet, because they also like to eat fruit. Very nice barbet. I'm now driving us off the edge of the damn wall. Sorry, Craig. Did you see your light flash for your eyes there? Poor Craig. But I think Craig and Darby, or David, we call him Darby around camp, his real name's David, given them the most near-death experiences. Okay, jackalberry cheese just around the corner. Let me just check this one. No, you haven't got anyone in you. This is the better one. This one's got lots of fruit. That's so funny. Okay, now. Oh, who's on the ground? Natal's burfowls. Look like an adult and a juvenile. And off they go, running just off the edges. Another bird to add to this morning's list of feathered friends. Doesn't that cute? Look like there's anyone in this tree. Oh no, there's a go-away bird. Now, Craig, let me try and find the best spot for you, because this is always awkward and we don't want the sun directly behind it, because then we can't see. I'm just trying to see. No, I'm going to stretch my neck up. That will be too high. Okay, let's park this side. I'm just going to turn the car around completely and look back towards the tree, because they keep coming this side. Okay, I see them. They're just to the left. I haven't got a clear view of them just yet, but I can definitely see one bouncing about. There. They're just in there somewhere. I think there was also, there we go, you can see the leaves moving around. That's the go-away bird. Now, again, I've got to say to you, it was an amazing sighting that you had yesterday with Byron of both the crested barbet and the grey go-away birds. It was fantastic camera work from Craig, where they were feeding on one of the senners and feeding on those little beans. Now, you could clearly see how nimble they were, and I can't believe how well they were able to balance on the flimsiest of branches, where it should be a little bit easier for them to maneuver around on this jackalberry, because it's a lot more of a sturdy tree. Now, Ellie, you're wondering if we get parrots here. We do indeed. We get the brown-headed parrots. We actually had a nice sighting of them the other morning, which was really quite cool. I haven't seen any this morning. I haven't actually even heard any either. There's the go-away bird again. It's just in the center of your screen. It's so difficult from this angle because it kind of just blends in. It looks like a shadow, but you can see its tail. Please, can you hop into some open areas? It's so difficult. And they're not cooperating now. They want to jump to the tops of the trees, which makes it... Craig basically has to lay down as if he was at the beach. No, it's okay, Craig. I think it's too... They're being naughty. You're not listening, birds. You're supposed to dangle nicely for us so we can see quite easily. Where are we going to go now? Let's go to Leopard. Right. Now, speaking of jackalberries, and we've seen lots of birds feeding on at the moment. Anna Maria wondering how sweet are the jackalberry fruits. They're fairly sweet. And then when I tasted one the other day, perhaps it was a bad one. It had quite a powdery taste to it. And it's quite a fibrous fruit. But there's definitely a lot of sugar in there. And it's nice. I enjoy eating them. Except when I ask the birds to drop me some, they peck at it a few times first. They won't just give me whole fruit. It's very rude of them. And I keep checking around on the ground as well. Because typically, when you scratch around underneath a jackalberry tree, you'll find some whole ones on the floor, and that's just because the birds have been bouncing around, and then they fall out, and then they become nice and ripe. Do you think I can find any? Not even one. Well, we were with Hosana. We might go back around there and pop past to see if he's woken up, but I don't think so. I think he'll still be sleeping for the next few hours. Let's go to Byron, and he has also been chatting about leopards.
Right, so we fixed our little tech issue. It's all good. The sound's fine. Now, we were chatting just quickly about that sighting again, that wonderful sighting with Hosana and that hyena that were busy fighting over the carcass. That was amazing. And as I said, I think possibly just the age of these two animals. They looked, well, we know Hosana is young, that hyena looked young, but it just shows you that sometimes a leopard won't back down for a single hyena. If there may be 2 or 3 hyena, then yes, then usually what will happen is they'll try to chase that leopard away. I've seen male leopards though stand their ground often against 2 hyena. They're much bigger, they're very powerful, so they wouldn't be as frightened. But a really incredible interaction between those 2 predators, and wonderful to see. It's an amazing sighting that Ali had. Now, we've been chatting a bit about the birds. I just wanted to show you that black-collared barbet. If we have a look there quickly, let me show you a nice picture of the black-collared barbet. There we go. That's it. Yeah, so that's the black-collared barbet we were looking for and trying to show you, but unfortunately it flew off. There we go. Well done. Look at that crystal. So that was the black-collared barbet. And now, we've got a nice question from, it was from Anna Marie Sutton. Anna Marie, you asked, what is the bird I look forward to seeing the most in the spring? Anna Marie, I wonder. I really enjoy seeing the cuckoos. The cuckoos are always nice to see and hear in the summer or in the spring. Of course, we've got to say the woodland kingfisher. It's always nice to see the woodland kingfishers around. What else? What else do I really enjoy seeing? Some of the bee-eaters, the European bee-eaters, when they return, they're always nice to see. But I would say probably the cuckoos. I love seeing the cuckoos, and especially those red-chested cuckoos. That sound. Sounds just like a red-chested cuckoo, doesn't it? That's a sound of the red-chested cuckoo, and they one of my favorite birds to see around during the springtime, I think. Maybe some of you can let me know what birds are you looking most forward to seeing in the springtime. So when we start getting those migratory birds returning. So what birds do you like? Don't forget #SafariLive. Send us your comments on what birds you like. And let's head back to Taylor, find out what birds she is excited about seeing in the spring and what her plan is from now.
It's a tough one. We're actually thinking about it because there's just so many birds out here. I'm going to say a whole lot now. Wahlberg's eagles, I like seeing them. And also European bee-eaters, pretty cool. Or even the white-throated bee-eaters that come down. Well, summers, that's quite nice. Carmine bee-eaters, let's not forget the beautiful magenta bee-eaters that we have out here. They're lovely, so that'll be quite nice to see again. There are so many birds, you could literally just sit and name birds for hours and hours. But what I do want to do is I want to check on my num-num fruit. Not my num-num fruit, the num-num tree that is starting to bear fruit. I haven't been here for a couple of days now. Oh, sorry, Craig. And let's see if it's got anything more, if my fruit's been eaten again. Under the tree we go. I actually should just cut this branch off, hey Craig? Because we come here so often. Oh, I can see little red rubies on the tree. No. Oh, this car drives me crazy sometimes. Sorry, Craig. I know you're under that tree now, but I just can't get to go forward. No, I'm quickly just jumping off. I won't stay here too long. I just want to have a little look here. No, it seems as though all the fruits have been devoured. That's upsetting. Every single one of them. I thought I saw one little red fruit. But now they're all gone. Oh, I didn't even get to eat a ripe one. I'm totally going to come here next year. I'm going to cover it and be selfish and have the entire tree for myself. Where was the one little one that I was talking about? We'll pick it in spite of the birds. Oh, no, get into my hand. Here it is. That's one of the little fruits, but it's still very small. This needs to double in size before it'll be nice and edible. Should we try it anyway? It's going to be bitter, I know. And you may have seen a milky latex. Don't worry. This is one of the fruits, one of the exceptions where you can actually eat it. Something that has a milky latex. Not too bad. Sweet. And then it gets a little bit bitter towards the end. Just because it's not quite ripe. But nice. They're one of my favorite fruits. Craig, I promise next time we come we will cut it. We'll cut that branch. I don't worry, you can drop it. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the dam. Let's go to Vuyatela Dam. Still got a little bit of a way to go, but I'm sure we'll see some things along. Stop it. Rusty. I'll get a stick out if you're not careful. Get the guarri bush. There we go. Not only can guarri trees be used to put out fires and fly swatters, but they can also be used to beat cars when they misbehave. Right, so we'll go towards Bateleur Dam. If you've been watching and been on the dam cam, you may have seen there seems to be a variety of animals around there. So we'll go sit with them and see what they're up to. I'm going to send you across though to Byron, and I think he's going to chat to you a little bit more about what birds we can expect in the up and coming spring month.
I am indeed, and thank you very much to all the viewers for sending in your comments about which birds you're looking forward to seeing. So, Snazzy Zep, you say bee-eaters, Nev Keppel, Emma falcons, those beautiful little Emma falcons, they are lovely to see. Janine, you say you identify with the grumpy birds. Why would you do that? What grumpy birds? Heidi, kingfishers. Yeah, the kingfishers are always beautiful. And Aaron, also cuckoos. Neil, you say the seagulls. What seagulls have you seen on Safari Live? Although, Neil, maybe you're referring to that story that I've told a few times. And there was a guide that we used to work with years ago, and he was what happened was he was driving guests, and he was back at camp, two different guides, but these guests had returned. They'd been there the year before. They returned to the lodge again the following year, and the guide said, "What birds do you want to see?" And they said, "We want to see the seagulls." And he said, what seagulls are you talking about? We don't have seagulls out here in the bush. They go, "No, you definitely do. Our guide last year told us about the seagulls." And he thought to himself, he's like, "No, surely he must have been joking." And there was one of the local guides who used to work with, very knowledgeable guide in that, but the accent was quite thick, a different accent. And this guide was in a sighting with him the one day, and this eagle flew over and perched on a tree near them, and the guide turned and he said to these guests, he goes, "Look, it is a Wahlberg's seagull." So it was the Wahlberg's eagle, but because of the way he said it, it sounded like a Wahlberg seagull. So the guests thought it was a seagull, and they then kept asking to see these seagulls that they'd seen the year before. So Neil, maybe that's where you get the seagull from. Very good, thank you, Neil. I thought that was very funny. But we've got such funny stories with guides, and that obviously in the years guiding guests and mistakes and whatever else we get up to. So thank you. Yeah, so it's always nice to see those birds that return in the spring. So hopefully we'll get to see a lot of them soon again on Safari Live. Now let's head back to Taylor. I think she was heading to Chelepan or to one of the dams. Let's go and have a look what she's found.
We passed Chelepan already. It's actually completely dried up here. There's nothing left in there. So we're just about to pop up onto the dam wall of Bateleur Dam. It's drying out quickly. Let's see who we've got here. I can see hardy dars straight away, but I'll reposition. I can hear oxpeckers. Where are you? Are you sitting up in the tree? Where are all the animals gone? That's rude. It must have known I was coming and thought, "Run for your life. Run, she's coming." We'll have a look at the hardy dars though. Hello hardy dars, it's nice to see you again. We've got one in the water, probing in all that mud. It must be getting lots and lots of little delicious things to eat. It must be some of the healthiest looking hardy dars I think I've ever seen in my entire life. And the most successful too, because it's something else that I've also done. We had a flock of hardy dars that my dogs used to look after. Now I know this sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it's a true story. I had Anatolian shepherds, which are an amazing breed of dogs. They're actually used in conservation now, particularly in areas where there are lots of cheetah and where you have human and sort of animal conflict, where there are perhaps no fences and people are have got their domestic animals, so cows and sheep and goats and things like that, and they'll be walking around in these national parks where there's no fences between the sort of dividing lands like what we have here. And you can imagine, as soon as a predator realizes how easy it is to go for something like a sheep or a goat, that's what they're going to start eating. And the last thing that we want, of course, is for the farmers to shoot the predators. So they've started introducing these dogs into their herds of domesticated animals. I promise I'll get to where the hardy-dars come in. And then they live with them from about 6 weeks, and they become like a sheep or a goat. They don't know any different. They protect the livestock from all of the predators, and they worked very well. It's become a very successful project. So anyways, we had 2 of them, Mac and Mia, and they didn't have any goats and sheep to look after. They had chickens, and then my brother and I, and then a flock of hardy-dars. And they would sit with these hardy-dars every single day and walk with them as they'd go across, because my dad also insisted on clearing the plot, and we had about 4 hectares of just kukui grass. It was wonderful. It was like a golf course. It was so much fun. And we'd watch these hardy-dars, and they'd go about probing the ground, and then at about 5 o'clock every afternoon the dogs would chase them away, and then off they would go and sleep in whichever trees in the neighboring properties, and then they'd come back. And when I sat for hours and hours watching my dogs herd these hardy-dars around and watching the hardy-dars feed, I noticed that, and I can compare it now, that every time they probed in the ground, they wouldn't necessarily come back up with something to eat. But if you watch these hardy-dars in the dam, look at that. Consistently, as soon as they probe into the mud, I'm quite confident in saying it, about 70% of the time they're bringing up an insect of some sort. There, it wasn't successful. Let's see if it goes again. There we go. Got something. And now they've got a sensory nerve that runs down their beak that actually picks up movement from whatever's living in the murky waters, and particularly in the mud. Or normally you don't see the hardy-dars in the water. You actually see them out on open areas and grasslands, probing that way. One of their favorite things to feed on is earthworms, in fact. And that's what they used to always catch in our garden. So I would love to know exactly what little crustacean or what they are getting from the mud. But there we go. There's a little interesting story about my life and my Anatolian shepherds that I used to have. That was many years ago. And there's a go-away bird that's also now hopping around on the mud. Careful, you don't want to get your feet wet, do you? Well, not muddy at least. They are such cool looking birds. Look at that crest. Oh, and it sounds like there's baboons at Vuyatela camp. I can hear them squawk. Not squawking, they don't squawk. Birds squawk, but screaming. So there must have been a domestic altercation. And now it seems as though there was a big group of them. Oh, can we have a look at the African green pigeons that have just fluttering around there? They've come down for a drink. Thank you, Craig. I believe they were on the dam camp earlier with some warthogs and Inyana, but they've all moved on now. How great do those African green pigeons look? The coloration against the brown mud. They really do stand out. So they've obviously been feeding on the nearby jackalberry trees, and now they're coming down to have a drink before it gets too hot. Oh, they are such beautiful birds. So I think, if anything, they give the lilac-breasted rollers a run for their money with their colours. Exquisite Bliss, you want me to give you a bird call? Oh, I think it's going to chase everything away. Should we do hardy-dar? I'm going to do a hardy-dar call, and let's see what they do. Are you ready? You might hear me on the dam cam. I hope I don't scare them away. Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! They're probably thinking, that is one very sick hardy-dar ibis. Don't worry. They didn't seem too bothered. They actually stopped what they were doing and they looked at me. And not for long though. Straight back into business. We're not going to let that annoying sound bother us. I'm just going to carry on looking for something to eat. I don't blame you. I also wouldn't waste my time. But there's lots of birds here, from hardy-dars to the go-away birds, blacksmith lapwings, turtle doves, African green pigeons have all come down here. And if you keep watching the dam cam, I'm sure you'll see some bunting, probably some more dove species coming through, maybe laughing doves as well as buntings and things like that. But isn't that great? Now, before we end, I have to show you, look at all the birds that are just sitting here on the edge of this thorn tree. all coming down, waiting to have a drink. So keep watching. There's this golden-breasted bunting. There was a little blue waxbill too, and I'm sure there was a grey-headed sparrow. So keep an eye out for them. They'll come down for a drink. But it's actually been a very wonderful morning out here in the Sabi Sandwiltuin in South Africa. We've had leopards, we've had elephants, we've had giraffe, we've had birds. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Thank you, Byron, for holding the fort down in the tent. But join us again this afternoon for the Sunset Safari.